Wait, I'm sorry. So you're telling me that you're a founder that's consistently posting about your business, but nobody is still trying to sign up and be your client? What? Okay, that is rough, but the problem here is not consistency. You're good, okay? You're still putting in effort. The problem here is how you're being perceived, aka your personal brand. Here's a real truth. Personal branding is very closely linked to psychology, which is why in this video, I'm breaking down the psychology behind founder brands and why some quietly convert, ka-ching ka-ching, and others do not. Before your audience even processes your message or has a chance to, they have already made a snap decision what they think of you, what their perception is of you, in under a second, without any sort of logic or reasoning. As much as we founders love to believe that whenever people watch our content, they're evaluating our expertise, what actually happens is the nervous system of your audience is evaluating whether you feel certain, whether you feel safe, and if you even feel credible. Here's what immediately signals doubt to your audience. 1, over-explaining. 2, rapid context and topic switching. That signals instability. 3, nervous or rushed delivery. That reads as insecurity. When you know what you're talking about, you slow down, you chill out. Constant rebranding. That forces your audience to consistently reevaluate you, which creates a lot of cognitive load. Now, here's what actually fosters trust. 1, repetition. That actually creates familiarity. Most of the people that follow you see about 10% of your content, even if that, especially with the new algorithm switches, both on TikTok and on Instagram, especially on Instagram. Familiarity then creates safety. Safety creates trust. So predictability in this case is not boring. It is very much necessary because it is reassuring to the brain. Here's what you can implement immediately. First, slow down in your delivery. We especially talk fast while we're nervous. Reduce topic switching. 1 very clear message per post or per video or per Instagram story set or per email newsletter. Repeat yourself on purpose. Remember, authority compounds, and so does familiarity, which only builds up your authority in the eyes of your viewers. Remove excess explanation. Clear conclusions build trust way faster than any sort of justification. That's something I'm trying to get better at because I love to yap. So remember, your audience decides whether to trust you neurologically before they even make the decision to listen to you logically. Now, let's get the second thing clear. Authority and expertise are not the same. So let's stop confusing the two, yeah? I don't know why I sounded British just now, but okay. Expertise is what you know. So if you had a 20-year-long real estate career, you clearly have expertise. You know a thing or two about the industry. But authority is how confidently you can make decisions. When you think of somebody who's authoritative, I personally get a visual of like a person standing on a mountain, just like bossing people around and giving them orders. And those people are listening to said person because they have authority. That shows up in very clear opinions, decisive language, and also knowing what not to explain. And a great example of this is Alex Hormozi. He's so clear, he's so straightforward and to the point. Another person that immediately jumps to mind, Layla Hormozi, love her, she's awesome. Brian Johnson, he's so authoritative and so clear in his communication. So if we're tying this to content, that's why educational posts do not always convert, because in 2026, we're not in an era where we do not have information readily available to us, okay? Information is quite literally everywhere. It takes one ChatGPT prompt to find out whatever it is that you want to know about business, but judgment, on the other hand, because ChatGPT can give you a bunch of things that you should do, but when you listen to Alex Hormozi and someone who's been in the industry for, I think he's been in business for 14 years, his judgment is very clear. And of course you trust the judgment because he has the expertise. And that altogether is authority. Day in the life content also, unless you're creating it in a very specific way, it doesn't build trust, it just builds familiarity of like, okay, like I kind of know what they're doing, you know, but you really have to tie it back into your brand in order for it to be effective. Print this in your mind, people do not follow founders to get access to facts, okay? People follow founders and people they look up to get access to their thinking. So if that is not a content pillar of yours yet, what are you doing? Every single client we work with at Factor Social, their thinking and their judgment is a very distinct lens that we position their content into. And that is how they're printing money. I don't know why I said that, but that's how their content is converting into clients consistently. They're consistently getting inbound because people want to know your judgment, especially people that are going to become your clients later down the road. When you post a piece of content, these are the 3 subconscious questions that it is actually being filtered through. First, can I trust this person? i.e., are they consistent? Do they have a clear point of view? Do they feel emotionally steady? 2, do they know what they're doing? Do they speak decisively? Do they have clear opinions that they actually take positions on, aka Gen Z language? Are they standing on business? And 3, do I feel safe here? Does their content feel calm or does it feel chaotic? Does it feel grounded or does it feel performative? And especially here, you'll see a distinct difference in terms of what kind of audience you're appealing to. Take, for example, Cluely and their marketing, which is very successful for them because their primary audience is younger, if I had to guess, based on my quick skim and analysis of their marketing. But their content, to me, for example, feels very chaotic, which is why if I'm looking for a platform like Cluely, even though they're top of mind, I, as a person, do not align with chaos. Like it really stresses me out and it makes me uncomfortable. So I gravitate towards products and people who have calmer, more grounded energy. But Cluely, for example, they very clearly, distinctly appear to Gen Z and younger millennials as well, who align with that kind of energy. This also groundedness versus chaos is different in terms of what kind of offer you're selling, what kind of offer the company's selling. You typically see higher ticket products with a more calm and grounded energy because it's higher ticket. So type of buyers tend to gravitate towards that versus lower ticket stuff. They tend to create a lot of noise, which is part of their marketing strategy, and they're a lot more loud. So they appeal to a different sector within the audience. Now, if content feels really draining for you, it's not because you're bad at it. I personally believe every single founder can create really awesome content. It's simply because your thinking is not structured. Here's what actually is happening. You do not have a repeatable content system, okay? So you're like, okay, well, it's 2026. I got a great content for my business. Content is such a big pillar in marketing now. Like I have to jump on it. But every piece of content feels like a new decision to make for you. And if I know anything about founders, as a founder myself, we do not want any more decision fatigue. We do not want any more cognitive load. Why do you think Stephen Bartlett wears the same black shirt every single day? Or Alex Ramosi has the same like low effort look every single day? To remove decisions. But if your content feels like chaos to you every single time, you will not be consistent with it. You will not articulate your thinking clearly, so authority will not get built, so nothing will end up compounding. And that's a huge problem, and that's what we're here to fix. This is exactly why we created the Content Authority Diagnostic exclusively for our newsletter subscribers, okay? Not available to anybody else. And the Founder Content Authority Diagnostic will help you see where your authority breaks down, why content depends too much on you specifically, and why your visibility has not yet turned into inbound. Because if you're consistent with content, that really should be happening if you're hitting all of the above. This is not a content checklist of here's what you need to do. It is an experience that will take 30 minutes if you're going through it fast, but I recommend budgeting at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half for it. That's completely personalized to you, and it really takes you through the content process and allows you to create content that is directly aligned with your audience's needs, which creates inbound. Correct. You're going to be getting that ka-ching, ka-ching soon enough. So access the Content Authority Diagnostic via the link in my bio by subscribing to our newsletter because we share some really valuable stuff. Yeah. If you take away anything from this video, take away this. Confidence is not loud, it is consistent. And inbound does not come from being seen more by just anyone. It comes from being clear. That's what we like to call strategic visibility. Bye. See you in the next one.